Hello, so I've got the Yugoslav style helm on for this stream. No particular reason why, I just felt like wearing this rather than the gas mask, because that way I can actually have my glasses on and read the chat a bit easier, where if I've got a mask on. Also, you might notice that's slightly different because the Mark IV kept falling off of that shelf. What I've done is I've put under there the MM1 with the sort of tank helmet on it there. So let's just get that adjusted right, so you get everything in frame. There we go. Right, I'll go to live chat, because so far I've not seen anyone acknowledge I'm actually on. Oh, Jaden's done it, so hello, Jaden. Don't forget to like the stream, everybody, but thank you. I've seen a load of people have liked it already. All right, happy birthday then, Lucas. How old are you? But, yeah, also, if you're interested in supporting the channel, you can donate to me via Super Chats on the chat thing. There's a Patreon link below, and there's also the Teespring Store, so if you buy merch, I get a little bit of money off of that as well. Oh, happy 15th birthday to you then. That's not a Soviet World War II helmet, it's a Yugoslavian Cold War helmet. See, it's actually shaped like a Stahlhelm. So it's basically almost a German helmet, just in green with a red star on it. Cool, what model SOX did you get, Lucas? The O1M or an older one? Alright, Mike, hope you saw the message I sent you earlier. We won't chat about it on here. If you're on Twitch later, we can talk about it on there. But, yeah, I had some very good news today. O1M, so same model as me. But, yeah, I wasn't really expecting the news I got today. I don't want to make it sound like I'm leading people on something very interesting. But, yeah, I won't chat about it on here, but just saying to Mike. Yeah, that's a katana. It's a modern one. Oh, I'm really sorry about that, James. How old was it? I've never had lizards or anything like that. I've had like loads of other sort of animals, mostly mammals as pets, and like birds, but that's a shame. My condolences. How long do they live, if you don't mind me asking? But I suppose with a lot of animals like that, they can probably live to all sorts of different ages, can't they? And it depends if they get an illness or whatever. So yeah, between 10 and 15, I guess, depending on how lucky you are. Yeah, ventilation bit. However, saying that, whereabouts does the top of your head come to? I reckon if somebody shot bang on there, I reckon that would just about miss most of your forehead. Actually, saying that, I don't know. If you wore the straps loose. Cheers, Russell. Sadly, it's not something I really want to say on here. Are you on the Discord? Because I wouldn't mind saying on there a bit later. It's just good stuff, basically, to do with some of the money I'm getting in. But, yeah, the comedy stuff. You're not blocked, Iron Man. Stop playing that game. Yeah, I live in Europe. Well, I live in England, which is in Europe, obviously. Well, the straps on this helmet are really good. They're some of the best straps I've seen on a helmet, because basically you just tighten and loosen it doing that. So what you can do with these is you can obviously just do that. You can clip them back like this. Sometimes YouTube just does that, Iron Man. But there you go. So what you can do with this helmet is you could have it like that, with the strap fully loosened. Then it goes on really easily. Obviously, that's a loose strap, doesn't do anything. Right, Zeus, this is your last warning as you were spamming pierogi stuff last chat. You can stop spamming it, or you're just going to get a block from now on, because we don't need to keep talking about pierogi. Thank you. But basically, the straps go really loose. Then you've got these two buckles here, which you just pull these down kind of like a gas mask strap to tighten or loosen a helmet, which is actually a really good system for straps on a helmet. Most don't have straps anywhere near this good. The thing I like about this is you don't have anything digging into your chin, because a lot of helmets have like the connector right there, so that's always digging into your chin. In what sense? It's a Stahlhelm, Iron Man, but it's more similar to the German World War II helmets, this one. The East German one actually gives you better ballistic protection, but these old Yugoslav helmets are lovely. They apparently did a late model of this one in Kevlar, which I would love to get, because if that's the same strap system as this helmet, it would be brilliant. Yeah, the reason, Sam, was it kept falling off, and after I got it down to show people yesterday, it just literally kept falling off the shelf. I couldn't get to sit on there, so I've moved where the MM1 is. My Mark IV is now on top of the wardrobe over there, because there's plenty of room up there, so it's not going to topple off and damage itself. And then the MM1 on the styrofoam head sits there fine. But what I might do later is cut the very bottom of the polystyrene off, the bottom of the head it's mounted on, just so it sits a bit easier on the shelf, because at the moment it's actually putting pressure on the shelf above. But yeah, well, funny, I've got a beer here. I haven't opened it yet. It's Foster's. Foster's isn't my choice of good beer, but I quite like Pilsners and everything. And thanks again, Russell. I appreciate all the donations. I quite like Pilsners and things like that. Bitters, sort of, like pale ales and things like that. But I don't neck beer, thank you, Iron Man. I didn't have a beer yesterday because I thought with my colitis flaring up, but it does seem to be getting better again at least, so I'm hoping it was just a minor flare. Air raid sirens are really cool, Ricardio. I love air raid sirens, especially old British World War II Carter sirens. That's a very distinctive sound. Now, this is the Yugoslavian, is it M59 helmet? I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's a later model of it, not the Kevlar one, but it was like the steel one with the really good liner. And is it the M5983 it was called? Can't remember, but it's basically a style helmet if you look at the shape of it. If you bought one of these, painted it grey or whatever, you could probably do a pretty good imitation of a German soldier in World War II with it. I think there's some minor differences to the shape from the German style helmets in World War II, but it pretty much is the same thing. Aspel tastes really salty to me, Peach. I quite like it, but it's a very salty cider. I don't drink red wine very often. I quite like mead and white wine, especially the more fruity white wines. Right, as you've donated, Russell, I will very carefully get it down for you, but only because you donated. But obviously, because the Geiger count was underneath it and it's got display items next to it, I need to be careful. Right, let's take that improvised dust mask off of there first. Now, can I just simply lift this up? There you go. That's sort of what I was afraid of, but I'll have to sort that back out again a bit later. So carry handle there. Let's put that down. Charging handle is here, and it's got a forward assist on the British SLRs, but obviously charging handle doesn't do anything because obviously all the guts of the rifle have been stripped out while they deactivated it. Your gas tube would run along the top to there, but they've taken the gas tube out. One of the coolest features on the FOWs is this, the gas selector. Lots of rifles didn't bother with this, but it's a really good function. Basically, depending on what sort of environment you're in, you can change the gas selector. So basically, if you put it on a setting like this, see that vent hole at the top blocks or opens depending on what setting you've got it on. It controls the recoil of the rifle and how well it cycles. So what ends up happening with it is obviously if you're in an environment where it's likely to jam, you can increase the recoil pressure, but it cycles the action better. Whereas if you were launching, I think it's rifle grenades, or I think rifle grenades you have it fully open, and then if you just want very light recoil, but it's more likely to jam if the rifle's not really clean, you can have it on a lower setting. Yeah, well, the SLRs are really well made, just because it's a FOW built to really high standards, because the FOW was obviously used by like 90 countries, so SLRs are really well made ones. I don't know, I think the World War II German helmet might be a bit thicker, but the steel feels a bit better in this. So yeah, you've got your flip-up rear sights. There you go. It's just a simple sort of aperture peep sight. Then all it is basically you look down there, you've got your front sort of three-post sight. Then obviously squeeze the trigger. My trigger doesn't move on this one because it's deactivated. I don't have a Mosin. I've got a Lee Enfield up there, Peach. But yeah, I like Mosin the Gants. But sadly, lots of those deacs are expensive now. There's some inert ammunition in there. Mag just rocks in kind of like an AK mag. And then, yeah, to open it up, if you were servicing the parts on the rifle, you'd basically just, there you go, that's how it closes. It just literally slams shut. To open it, there's a little side lever, you do that, and then with a real file, you'd pull all the bits off. Take the dust cover off, then you could get at all the internals. You can see some of the bits are still in there, but they have taken most of them out. So there's a bit of the stuff welded in there. And then obviously what you'd do is try and get that back in. That would shove back in there. Then if I get it at an angle where it's going to close properly, there we go, that's closed. So obviously, yeah, it's a fairly heavy and big rifle. You wouldn't want to be clearing houses with it, but the FAU is, and definitely the R1A1, you know, a beast of a battle rifles, just because it's, you know, a very reliable, strong rifle. This one, it was £395, I think, when I got it, but sadly, these are like £1,000 to buy in even more deactivated state now, just because that's the reason I've not bought any new deacs in ages, because as they've changed all the deac laws and made them, so I can legally own this, I just can't sell it or do anything with it, basically. But yeah, I'd have to get it re-deactivated, where they'd weld up even more shit on it to resell it, and it would then, it's around £1,000, what I've seen on site selling them now. Yeah, I definitely like Fred's Lucas. I've recommended it a lot on there. Sadly, I don't have any pistols other than an air pistol and a couple of replica old revolvers. Yeah, when Britain made the FAU under license, we made them semi-auto because they didn't want the soldiers wasting ammo on full auto, especially because 308 is a pretty hard caliber to keep on target. So you'll see on there, on the fire selector, it says S and R. If it focuses. There you go, S and R. And that means it's locked where they've deactivated it into fire. But basically, S is safe, and R is repetition, which basically means semi-automatic. For some reason, British guns use R to designate semi-auto. Don't know if going out in public with this, Russell's a good idea, but thank you again for the donation. Yeah, basically, right, Lethal, this is a confusing story, but I'll do it because it's quite interesting, and it's a thing of America fucking everybody over. So basically, what happened was, originally, Britain was going to have the EM2 rifle, which was, you know, like, the SA-80 kind of looks like it, but it was a totally different rifle. Slid down there. So basically, it was going to be in 280 British, where if you want a comparison between modern ammunition, it would sit somewhere between 5.56 and 7.62 in terms of power. So it was more powerful than like something like an M16, but less powerful than the actual FAU we got. And what ended up happening is Britain was quite happy to have that caliber, but America said, we're going to go with 7.62 NATO, and all NATO countries need to have 7.62 NATO. Then America said to FN, who made the FAU, they said, if you rechamber the FAU for 7.62 NATO, because I believe the FAU was originally going to be 280 British as well, they said, you know, the US will adopt it. So FN then made the FAUs, they scaled them up, made them 7.62 like that one. Then America said, actually, we're not just going to adopt it, it needs to go into a trial against the M14, because we want it tested against a true American rifle. So they tested it against the M14. The FAU did better in most of the weapons trials, and then they said, no, we're still going with the M14 because it's an American-designed rifle. So despite the fact America would have had a free production license for the FAU anyway, they went with the M14. The M14 had shitloads of teething problems, and then they wanted to replace it with another gun really quickly. But all the nations that used the FAU properly, like Britain, some other Western European nations, lots of South America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, lots of African countries, they really loved the FAU and they stuck with it for like decades because yeah, that's a shame, isn't it, John? Especially because, again, if it was more like the EM2, it'd have actually been really good. Worst gas mask I own? I don't know. I would have said the Chinese Type 65 until I got one, and now I quite like it, even though it's got lots of flaws. Probably a cheap filter mask, I'd say. Cheapest gas mask, probably a Polish MC1 I got for like £3. Oh, cool, the World War II one, or like very soon after World War II. Does the Shum one not have the Tissot tubes? Isn't that the major difference between the Shum 1 and the Shum 41? That there's no Tissot tubes on that one. Worst cheek filter mask I've got? Probably a standard Czech, a Slovakian M10, probably. The rubber's fairly nice and the straps are good, but it just makes me angry. There's a good Forgotten Weapons video on it, Ghost, about all of the problems the SA-80 had, especially the L85A1, when they put it in service. Yeah, exactly, and like the FN Scar still takes the FAL mags, doesn't it? And there's stuff like that, the Scar H, where lots of stuff with a design influence from the FAL has gone onto other rifles, but it's just, you know, the SA-80 was literally, how can we make a rifle cheap and crap? And then, you know, that happened. Depends what you're using it for, Lucas. Technically, out of all the World War II calibers for rifles and things, American 30-06 was the most powerful. No, it's not actually a Soviet one. It's a Yugoslavian, I think it's M5983, if I remember the designation, but it's a Stahlhelm, basically. The Yugo-made Stahlhelms. Which mask do you mean by the M1, Lucy? Because there's a couple of different M1s, but I don't know if I've got any M1 masks in this room. I've got a Yugoslavian M1, but not in this room, so I can't get out. Yeah, the interesting thing, isn't it, Riley, that a lot of people don't know the G3 is literally a SETME, but it was actually designed in Spain and then Germany just bought the rights to produce it. Not heard anything for a while, Norman Bates. Interesting username there. Is that just a coincidence, or are you a bit psycho? But yeah, I've not heard anything for a while. Hopefully it doesn't change, but... What's my favourite helmet I own? Out of the old steel pots, my East German M56, this would be my second favourite steel pot. Out of the modern Kevlar helmets, the UK Armed Police Commando helmet, which is basically just a US Pascat helmet with a different liner. But I've got a Hungarian helmet as well, which is basically a copy of one of the Soviet helmets, but I can't remember which model it's a copy of exactly. I think the liner's a bit different, but... I know what the AR-180 is, or the AR-18, because that was the gun that the L-85 was most closely based on in the end, but they were a lot better than the actual ones. Doesn't the Terminator use that in Terminator 1 when he shoots at the police station, the AR-18 or AR-180? But what's the really cheap AR-180? Is it a variant of it, or were you just saying it was really cheap? Least comfortable helmet. That's hard because it really depends on the liner. And most of the time, the comfort of helmet comes down to the liner in it, not really the helmet itself. Obviously, the more the helmet weighs, the less comfortable it's going to be, but as long as the liner's good, it doesn't matter. I'm just pretty sure when I was watching that scene, I was like, hey, that's an AR-180. But yeah, the liner on this one's pretty simple. It's like a bit of leather and then some like suspension straps. But it's one of those ones that are nice for an old steel pot, and it's not like literally a shoelace. It is a proper It is actually a proper liner in there. No, fair enough, Gas Moscow. What's the most uncomfortable hat I've got? As in, like, hat, not a gas mask, just a hat. Really tough one, I don't actually know. I'm looking over there, but most of the caps I've got are comfortable. I'd say maybe my balaclava, just because when that's on, it always makes my face itch. Have you measured it, Lethal? So is it a case of it's just not as big as you thought it would look when you'd got it, or just a case of, like, the barrel isn't as long as it should be? But yeah, so it's like this one, is it? Sorry, Stefan, I can't understand you when you type that. But yeah, shiny. Also, very good news. My PC should be coming tomorrow. It's been dispatched. They've taken the final payment now. They refunded me about £140 in total. And that was obviously about £40 odd for the different cooler they had to put in, because the cooler I selected they wouldn't be able to get to fit in the PC case very well. So they said to me, could they just put a cheaper cooler in and refund me? So it's a 2-fan, not a 3-fan radiator, basically, for the liquid cooler, and that's absolutely fine. It's like what I've got in this current PC. And then they refunded me about £100 for how long it took to get done, but it's here now. Well, it'll be here tomorrow, and I'm really looking forward to it. So what I'm going to have to do after the stream tonight is start backing up any files I want to back up from this one onto my external hard drive. And then start unplugging all the peripherals, so when it comes tomorrow I can just literally slide this PC out the way, because I've got a spot behind my monitor for it, quite a big gap there, and then I can get started installing all the programs and everything on. Who said you can't watch the stream, Tash? In the UK, you can own semi-auto shotguns. They're just limited to 3 rounds in the magazine as a civilian. I'm not going to blow up my old PC, Riley. It's got good components in, and it's still a backup. The whole point is that I've got a new PC that's going to be way better. But I've always got a backup PC, and that's why I want to store it behind my monitor, because it's in a space where I can really easily get at it and plug it back in if I ever need to access it. It wouldn't surprise me, Iron Man. I reckon you could sharpen the rims on lots of helmets to make it quite lethal. But yeah, I don't know if there's any truth to that, but sounds plausible, doesn't it? £32 for a Nokia M61 is a bit pricey. What model is it? If it's a V1 M61, then it's probably worth that, because they're pretty rare. But the V2 and V3 are generally in the £20 to £30 price range. So that is a bit pricey if it's like that. You can use a expired 3M filter if you want. Obviously, use the same rules as all filter. If it's leaking, don't use it, and don't expect it to necessarily protect you. Right, I'll get onto that in a second, Lethal. Let me have a bit of beer, and then I'll let you. No. Yeah, Ricardo, because it's literally 40mm GOST. Right, new PC. The CPU, which is obviously the most important bit for me for video rendering and everything, is an AMD 3900X, the new Ryzen, currently the best CPU on the market until the new Threadripper's come out. Beats all the Intel ones and everything for a $500 processor. So, yeah, cheers, Iron Man. So that's nice. GPU, I ended up going for the AMD, is it Radeon 5700 XT, if I remember the name? It's not the highest end GPU on the market, but because I'm still playing games in 1080p, not 4K, that'll be absolutely fine for me. It's a big step up from my current GPU. In terms of RAM, it's DDR4. I think it's 32 gig RAM I've ordered, and it's 3200 megahertz clock speed. I think it's pretty good DDR4 RAM. And then a couple of SSDs and a couple of HDDs, so I should have loads and loads of room for video games and videos and editing and all that. Howdy, crazy Scott's Airsoft. What, as in you're planning on selling it, James, or you mean in terms of accessories for it? They're only worth a few pounds, so you can't really sell it for much. But if you mean accessories, you can get an NBC suit and everything with it. I've never played Roblox, but I know that's where that weird oof thing comes from, isn't it? When all the kids keep shouting oof in chat, that's where it apparently comes from. Just to show you, if you were to completely loosen the liner on this. Well, in theory, Gas Mask Guy, they had the thing, didn't they, that was the one the East German helmet was kind of based on. But I'm not sure the exact name, but there's basically two. There was one that looked a lot like the East German helmet, and then there was the one that looked kind of like, when you say eyesores, I guess you mean accessories. There was, all right, I'll put the Geiger counter on for the ambient sound. Let's put something next to it that will make it tick, but not tick too quickly. Tell you what, I'll put the Radian watch underneath it, under the probe. It's not facing the probe, so it won't tick too heavily, but there you go. Yeah, cheers, Iron Man. There's a company in Vietnam that does replica PIF helmets, loads of different ones, and that is the Zulu era British one. Yeah, that's why mine took so long, Lethal, just because the AMD processors were sold out. Because bear in mind, I ordered it, I think, July the 8th. It was the day after AMD had released the new CPUs. That's why I was given £100 back for, like waiting and being patient by the company. But the thing is, even if I went to a different supplier, I still wouldn't have been able to get it just because the AMD bits were out of stock everywhere. I really don't know too much about cryptos like, Bitcoin and all that, just because I kind of looked into Bitcoin mining at one point, and then it was, beyond the point where you could really make money with it with a feasible computer. So I didn't really pay too much attention to it. I think crypto makes sense in a way for people to use, but I don't really get all of it. That's all right, Sam. Yeah, that's the Yugo helmet, Delta Gaming. It's the Yugo M5983, is it? Without looking it up. Also, don't forget to like the stream, everybody, because there's currently 40 people on, which is really good, but 36 likes. And it helps if we get the likes more than the viewer count. But don't go off to get the viewer count high. Is that the Polish one, WZ31 Salamandra? Or Salamander? Yugo monocular. Is that like a scope kind of thing, like a binocular but a monocular? Oh, that looks cool. Is that a night vision one, or is it just a regular zoom one? Yeah, they look cool. I'd be tempted to get one if I saw one for a good price. Yeah, it did at one point, Lethal, because all the GPUs were literally getting sold out because people were making mining rigs. Yeah, my favourite helmet, Ryan, was I was saying is the British Armed Police Kevlar helmet, which is basically a Pascut ripoff, or might have been done under license, but it's a Kevlar 3A helmet with a relatively good liner. I'd still rather it just have a liner like this one, to be honest. Yeah, I do Iron Man, we were just saying that. Kevlar helmets. I've got the... Which ones have I got? I've got the Pascut style police one. That's the Kevlar 3A helmet. I've got the British Mark 7 helmet, which is only partially Kevlar because they were cheap with it. And I'm trying to think, do I have any other Kevlar helmets? I've got a lot of steel pots, but I'm not sure if I have Kevlar helmets. The replica one or the real one, young rail enthusiast, I only have a cheap replica. Got duck and cover, duck and cover. Yeah, that one with Bert the Turtle. There once was a turtle with the name of Bert, or however it goes. Remember, kids, duck under your desk. You're going to be absolutely fucked when you get nuked. Daisy Red Rider was literally £30 to £40. They're not much at all, Lethal. I bought mine from Palpax, is it? I can get you a link up for it, 1 minute. There you go, $43.99 at the moment. It would stop the ash from a volcano, Frosty, but I don't know if it would stop the acidic vapor. If you put new filters on it, yes, but not the original filters, I don't think. Yeah, I've played Airsoft. Sadly, there's not an Airsoft site near me, otherwise I'd actually have a Ucara sorted by now. By Bulldog gas mask, I guess you mean the MP4, don't you? The Polish MP4 leaving Zeus. That's cool, leaving Zeus, all that stuff. You can't put a link, I'm afraid, Delta Gaming. Only mods and me are allowed to put links on. That's not my policy, it's YouTube's policy. I'd like to own them, young rail enthusiast, but I don't know how well it would work if they just legalised all that stuff over here. I don't know how many mass shootings we'd suddenly get. My most expensive mask, the one I've paid the most for is the XM28, but I have other masks that are probably worth a bit more than that. I've just managed to get cheaper. I kind of want a Swiss Army knife with a spoon that comes out, to be honest. Do I have my Swiss Army knife on the keyboard? No, but you know, like with a flipper, it'd be quite good if you get one that has a spoon on there. I think that'd just be funny for shits and giggles. Let's tighten the strap up again so it actually stays on my head. I got mine ages ago, James, on eBay, but I've not seen any on there for ages, so I don't know, maybe there's just not many replicas being made cheaply now. Well, as in, like, what you're armed with Iron Man, like submachine gun versus rifle or whatever. Probably just a rifleman, I guess, but... yeah, you can sharpen spoons. You can make spearheads and arrowheads out of spoons if you flatten them and sharpen them. I mean, my opinion with chemical hoods and second skins and all that is it's good that they exist and they can make a mask stronger in the sense that they give better protection to the mask. However, you kind of want your mask to be good enough in the first place that you don't need a second skin or chemical hood for it. You know, I'd rather just have a mask you can put on and then pull an NBC hood over the outsides of it. This sounds interesting, Delta Game. Just sadly, I've never seen them for sale. I won't get it down because it will flake everywhere, but it's on the MM1 gas mask over there. And yeah, it's an East German tank helmet on an MM1 gas mask. So it's got the stereo headphones built in and everything in the throat mic. Well, as in which one's ticking? The one ticking at the moment is the mini monitor. That was about £145 second hand, but it's got an alpha probe on it. So yeah, the reason it's expensive is because of the alpha probe. So it means that it picks up alpha radiation. The majority of Geiger counters you can buy won't pick up alpha radiation. So just to demonstrate that, if I turn it around, the count will be a lot lower because you're not on the side that's getting exposed to alpha radiation. Actually, I can probably demonstrate something quite easily. Let me just do something. Right, let me flick on my Polish Geiger counter. Before I open the shield, I want to turn it off because I've been shot by this one a couple of times recently, and I don't know why, but let's play it safe. So we'll get the Polish DP66 out. Open the thing. There we go. There's the window. Right, let's put him like that. There we go. Right, and I'm going to demonstrate something. So hopefully this will work. Yeah, right. You probably won't hear that one ticking from over there though, but what I can demonstrate to you, if I get my little bit of Americinium from the smoke alarm. Luckily not radioactive series. Right, okay, here's some Americinium, or Americinium, or whatever you want to call it, from a smoke alarm. That's the side with the stuff on. If it will focus. Yeah, that's the bit in a smoke alarm that emits alpha radiation. That's how a smoke alarm works. Yeah, that one picks up beta and gamma and X-rays. That does alpha, beta, gamma, X-rays because it's got the special probe on the end. So anyway, if I just demonstrate this, if the Polish one's going to work, if I put this here, if it's going to work. No, I don't think it wants to work. That's annoying. No, it's not working, but basically, I'll demonstrate with the mini monitor. if you have the side of this that only lets the gamma through, your reading's like that, right? It's doing about 1 to 2 counts per second. If I flip that over, that's all alpha radiation. I'm going to have to work out where that's fallen down there, because I don't really want a radioactive thing like that sitting on my bed. There it is. Oop, tripping over everything. But yeah, it's not that old. It's like a British laboratory one. Don't know if it says on the back, but it was made in England, shipped to America, Indiana University, and then sold back as surplus. If they say so. Sound like farmers. But yeah, so yeah, just to demonstrate that up close, if you have the side that doesn't have the americinium on, because that's the bit that does the alpha radiation, as you can see, barely get a reading. You won't hear it ticking very much at the moment because it's not on a flat surface. But then turn that around. And that's fallen into my lap. There you go. But yeah, it's quite interesting how with alpha radiation, it totally depends on the little bit of the surface. They actually use a bit of americinium on the side of this as a check source as well, because the point is that because it's alpha radiation that can be stopped by a sheet of paper, I can actually probably demonstrate this. How have I got a little bit of paper or fabric? Yeah, okay, I've got a glasses cleaning cloth, that will do it. So let's use this for an example, right? Here is a tiny piece of glasses cleaning cloth. It's like felt or something, right? So let's stick that there and then use the probe. Only the alpha radiation is being blocked by that. If we take that away, then do that again. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, that gives you a good demonstration on alpha radiation, that, you know, it can literally be stopped by something like that, stopped by a piece of paper. But it's a pretty fascinating thing, humbling thing, the atom. Right, let's turn this one off before it electrocutes me again, which it's been known to do. Get these off. I'll just pop this one back away. I'll probably leave this one off that shelf until I put the SLR away. Safer. Right. Is Nell on? I didn't see her say hello, but hello, Nell, if you're on. Oh, yeah, I see it. Hello. Yeah, that one runs on smoke alarm like batteries, 9 volts. The Polish one runs on D batteries. But it's just the Polish one's got a bit finicky, I think, due to age. Sometimes you'll turn it on and it'll work fine. And it's an accurate reading when it works. Other times it just won't pick up any radiation. Yeah, gamma can penetrate totally through you. I just realised I've got this fucking thing sitting on my table. Let's get rid of that. In my pot of radioactive items. Just because I really don't want that on my desk in case I accidentally somehow swallow it and then I'm fucked. Ah, that's interesting, Delta. Sounds good. Yeah, well, that's Blades and Boss you put, but if you mean Blades and Bows, it's because sadly they've closed down. No, I mean, I've come across sources of things I know that are radioactive, and it's still funny that they're radioactive, like Fiesta ware, but I've never come across anything that, you know, is just randomly radioactive for no reason. Have a look at that, but there's not enough room on the wall now for more posters. I've still got 2 signs I need to put up. Yeah, it is a cool poster. I like the one where it has chemical protective on there, and it's got a guy with a Shum 41 on and an NBC suit. Yeah, I've played Red Orchestra 2 and Red Orchestra 1, Rising Storm 1, Rising Storm 2 Vietnam. When I've got the new PC, I'll probably buy Green Army Men for Rising Storm 2. Is that a Pilsner, Iron Man? If it's a Pilsner, I really like Pilsners, but I don't think I've tried that one. Yeah, the only problem, Mike, if I do that is I can't turn it round easily. But yeah, when if I ever wanted to demonstrate the alpha thing, I could do it that way, but yeah. Probably to do with, I guess, gun laws, young rail enthusiast, and the fact that in America you can't see a doctor easily without spending an arm and a leg might be part of it. I haven't played Metro Exodus. No, when I go to Chernobyl, I won't need a mask because it's perfectly safe, basically. I mean, well, it's not perfectly safe, but you know what I mean? You don't need to walk around there with a mask, especially if you're just there on a day's tour. I'm going, yeah, hopefully next year. I want to do one of the ones where you have like a 2-day one, because when I was looking at booking holidays there, sounds weird, doesn't it, booking a holiday to Chernobyl? But some of the tour guide ones let you do a thing where you go into the zone and then you stay overnight in like the place where all the scientists and the workers stay who do stuff there. So you're still technically in the zone. That must be really interesting, being in like kind of a safer area of the ghost town, because it's not in Pripyat itself, but I think it's the actual town of Chernobyl they use for that. But you know, the idea of literally being in the exclusion zone, you know, staying there at night, that sounds very interesting. I've got Verdun, James, but that's the only World War I game I've got, I think. I've seen some Tom Clancy movies and played some Tom Clancy games, but I've never read any of his books. Only one thing only, that's very tough. Maybe my Avon CT12, because I can actually use it. Not really, Stefan. I've got a load of lighters and things like that, but not really any, I don't think there's really anything that's not survival-based or I haven't shown on YouTube. There's one this week, I am the type of it. It's not a strict politics stream. What it's going to be, it might be the one I end up doing tomorrow, because there's 3 theme streams people have come up with that are quite good ideas. But what I think it is going to be is like UK weapon laws and do they make sense and things like that. So it's going to be kind of politics themed, but not outright politics. Yeah, if it's on the tour, I'll definitely see it, Jaden. Oh, D-Day was quite a long time ago, so I don't know why you'd have to prep for D-Day unless you were travelling back in time. All right, see you, Frosty. I'll be on for another 20-odd minutes or so. No, I don't do any doomsday prepping because I'm chronically ill. It would be absolutely pointless for me to do that. I've got stuff that in some sort of emergency scenarios might come in handy, but for the most part, there's no point. I wouldn't do vlogs, but I'd film regular videos and stuff like that. What, you mean the hospital basement that's full of the fireman's clothing that's still really radioactive to this day? I mean, I know all about Pripyat basements. The hospital of Pripyat the basement of Pripyat Hospital. That's what I was trying to say. And that kept going out all muddled. But yeah, there's videos of idiots there walking around with like no protective clothing on the Geiger counter while it's fucking screaming at them, probably going over 1 sievert an hour of radiation. You know, to the point where if they're down there for an hour, they'll receive a fatal dose. And they're sort of going, oh, look, my Geiger counter's going off. Yeah, no shit. Yeah, I heard that they gated it all off, didn't they, Stefan? Just because there were too many fucking idiots going down there and irradiating themselves. It might be tomorrow, Norman. I don't know at this point, just because the new PC is meant to be coming tomorrow. And when I say PC, I don't mean politically correct. I mean literally my new computer. Because obviously I'm going to have to be setting all that up. But if that all works out tomorrow, I can do a stream from a mobile phone. But I don't know if I want to do a theme stream from a mobile phone. There's more than one video like that, Ricardio, but the worst one I saw is this German guy who's got no gloves on. He's got a little dust mask and like a dust suit. That's all he's wearing. Nothing protecting his hair. None of that. And then he's just walking around while his Geiger counter goes crazy and then poking the things with his fingers with no gloves on. Favorite filter? Probably a good ABEC filter. I mean, out of the filters I've got, I find Polish FP5 filters to be the most useful because they're normalized and, you know, they're probably like ABEC P3 rated. But I don't really have a favorite filter in the sense of, you know, like one brand over another, because as long as they're sealed properly and they're good made filters, there's not going to be much difference. I'm sure you can, Richard. Have you seen those videos where the police go to people's houses to intimidate them because they've said something mean online? So they can't actually charge them for what they've said, but they can turn up at their door and go like, you do know that saying things like that can be very offensive, and we're just saying that you shouldn't, you know, say things like that online, and you should think before you speak. So, you know, in that sense, you can have political correctness delivered to your door. No, I had a gaming channel before and I barely did videos on it. I'll do video game streams occasionally on this channel. No, the closest, Stefan, I can do to a foreign language is German. And mein Deutsch ist nicht gut. Sprechen Sie English, danke? There you go. But I can't speak anything other than English, really. Oh, that's interesting. How much do they charge for those then, Mike? I'm not a massive fan of Half-Life 1. I definitely prefer Half-Life 2, and I've already streamed that. Is it like a vampire then, Delta Gaming, with holy water or the cross? Tell the truth and you just go, What do you mean by that, Norman? Political on this stream or the stream we talk about politics? Because there's politics brought up on the politics streams. If it's been sealed properly, Joe Mom, then it'd be absolutely fine. I've started watching The Boys, which has got Carl Urban in it, and that's quite funny because obviously he was Dredd in the recent Dredd film, wasn't he? Is that because you're Russian, Stefan? I don't know, I just thought that'd be funny. You know, a Russian person saying they can do a perfect Russian accent. I haven't even heard of that game. I mean, I know Nosferatu's like an old rip-off of Dracula. Who's that then, Norman Bates? Sounds like you're trolling now over your comments. I know who Phil Collins is. What's my favourite medieval sword? My falchion. Actually, yeah, definitely my falchion. I won't get that out just now because I've already got too many things down. time is it over here? I don't know. I went to look at my watch because it says at the bottom of the computer screen it's 10 to 9, as in 9 p.m. Yep, I've already answered that a couple of times. I will be, but I don't know if it'll be on my mobile or PC yet. It depends what time I've got the PC all set up. If it comes, I think I finished episode 6 earlier, Peach, so I've got episode 7 and 8 to watch. Then I heard it doesn't finish the series off, does it? Because there's going to be a season 2 or whatever. So I'm probably going to finish it and then go, fuck, I can't wait for the next series now. No, it's a Orient Mako 2. I know that's not the right way to see the watch, but tell you what, fuck it. If it will focus now. There you go. Yeah, same brand as Seiko technically, because Orient's owned by Seiko. But I was looking at some of the Seikos, but I ended up just going for the Orient because they were a bit cheaper in there. I just like the look of this one. But it's tough enough what I need it for work, and I like manual watches. Is it actually the People's Republic of California? Or is it... Oh, I just got the joke. Oh. Yeah, very funny, Delta. I just got it. Yeah. Let's have a look at your link then, Mike. It definitely looks like the Horizon string, doesn't it? Because it's got the green threaded bit on it. When you say what kind of music do you hear, do you mean what kind of music do I like to listen to? If you mean what kind of music do I like to listen to, loads of different genres, but I mostly like prog rock, soundtracks, sort of 80s metal kind of stuff. Well, the one on the Lewisite poster, I don't think it's actually a real mask. It's just for the Phosgene and Lewisite posters. They just had like kind of comedic looking masks, even though it's about not dying from chemical warfare. You know, strange, isn't it? That, but you know. Or do you mean an actual gas mask on the wall? Sorry. No, you did say on the little poster, didn't you? But yeah, it looks like it's just got like a filter at the very front, 2 eye bits, and some strap. It kind of looks like the Polish MC1. It's not, but it kind of looks like that. But yeah, the closest I think to a mask looking like that would be the Polish MC1, but again, that was just a generic poster because obviously, like that gas mask on that side's an elephant, and there definitely wasn't an elephant gas mask like that. What did you buy a M10 anyway, even though you knew I didn't like him, and then you realised I didn't like him? That's perfectly fine, young rail enthusiast. You get to you get to become a sadomasochist by buying an M10 and trying to put the filters in. Oh, that's cool, Joe Mom. So was that from like a Japanese officer he got that sword or whatever? And those gun-to katanas, whatever they call them. No, that's a GP7 mask there, if you're looking at that one. That's a Soviet GP7. Yeah, you can do, Chris. I mean, I don't know if I'd be buying any more comms gear, but you're welcome to put it there because other people might find it interesting. No, never really liked Nirvana, to be honest. I mean, I don't know if I believe the conspiracy theory that whoever it was killed Kurt Cobain. In theory, Stefan, I reckon you could probably somehow bodge the voice diaphragm onto a GP5. Nah, can't ride a motorbike. I can ride a bike, but I've not got one anymore. I just drive a car. Yeah, Courtney Love, that's her name, wasn't it? But there's a conspiracy, isn't it, that she shot him or something and made it look like suicide. But I've never been a fan of Nirvana anyway, so there you go. That's a politically themed t-shirt, that, Alex. If you bought the same sort of t-shirt with a swastika on it, you'd probably get beaten up or arrested. If it's got the hammer and sickle on, then it's okay for some reason, even though both are murderous regimes. Cheers, Daniel. It's the Yugoslavian M5983, if I remember the name right. But basically a Steinham. With, like, people saying the aim here to ventilate your brains. Red star on it. You thought they'd put the red star there or something, wouldn't you, where it'd actually go over your head, but no. So yeah, my day tomorrow is getting up early, finding out when my time slot for my PC is coming, and then arranging the day around that. But I'm hoping the PC is going to come quite early so I can get it set up early on. But I said my plan tonight, if Mike's on Twitch, I'll be watching him, but I'm just going to spend ages tonight backing up all the files I want, or double checking they're backed up, because I back up stuff anyway, onto my external hard drive. So that's all ready just to put stuff on tomorrow. Yeah, I'm drinking, Rodriguez. Loads of things are bad for you. Do you listen to all that stuff? Apparently eating burnt toast gives you cancer. Ah, cool, right. At 10 p.m. I'll be watching you then. I'm going to do an interesting video, Daniel. It's kind of going to be a tribute to Trinity and Beyond. I don't want to give it all away. It's going to be the first video I try and do a test render on. But basically, what I'm going to do is just film lots of things like putting plugs into the back of the computer to try and make it look a bit more technical than it is, because it's already pre-built. And then when it's all, I'm just going to have it powering up, doing like kind of close-ups of some of the lights coming on in it and stuff like that. And then what I'll do is I'll run some sort of benchmark to show the amazing power of the processor. And then I'm going to pair it with the George device. If you've watched Trinity and Beyond, you'll kind of get what I'm getting at. But that was the first boosted fission bomb. But I just thought the soundtrack might kind of fit with it all powering up and then kind of doing the render test. Just Fosters, I'm afraid, nothing fun. Sounds like a good way for me to get killed, young rail enthusiast. I am going to meet Mike, though, later this year. What's ironic? I am the typer. Oh, that I've got a commie helmet on. Yeah, it is. It's a Yugoslav M59. But I kind of like Tito. Out of all the commie leaders, he's one of the ones I think was one of the least pricks. All right, cool. I'll have a look at later, Chris. Cheers. Probably 8 p.m., but I can't guarantee at this point, Jaden, because the new PC's coming. It might make stuff a bit difficult. This is probably a really dumb idea, but yeah, the top of this helmet isn't really flat enough. No, I've not really watched many of Sticks and Hammer's videos, to be honest, because I'm not politically really aligned with his opinions. So I don't watch too many political YouTubers, to be honest, full stop, because politics, I'm a bit like Mike. If you end up watching too much politics, you just get pissed off. Cheers, Ricardo or Ricardio. Not in the UK, you can't, Stefan. You can't even be arrested for having Nazi stuff in your collection. I just don't think it's a good idea for people to walk around wearing a hammer and sickle when it was a murderous ideology in public. The same reasons I wouldn't want people dressing up as SS officers. It was based on some of the very weird campaigns the UK government did. I am the typer on Get a Life, Bin That Knife. What's the UK military 2011 gas mask? A Scott GSR? If it's a Scott GSR, then no. Not in my opinion, anyway. If it's an S10 dated 2011, then yes. But, you know. I mean, the thing is, I can understand people wearing something like that if it's cold and they've bought it because it's cheap army surplus. But I can't really, you know. Like I'm saying, if somebody's just bought a big T-shirt with a massive hammer and sickle on the front, to me that's the same as somebody walking around with a T-shirt with a swastika on it, you know, or anything like that, because it's, you know, a symbol of a murderously ideological government. And we're already turning into a politics stream that's not meant to be, so it might be a good point now to finish the stream. Sorry if you're just back, Frosty, because I'm just going off, but yeah, it's been a fun stream tonight. Thank you for the donations as well. I always appreciate that. And remember, if you look at the Teespring stuff below now, there's actually the S10 merch on there that lots of people are asking for. So yeah, I'll see you on Twitch tonight, Mike, at 10. I'm going to have to tidy up the SLR and a load of that other stuff that's on the bed behind me. But yeah, I will see you all later. Well, on Mike's stream anyway, for the people who are going to watch that. And they've moved the end stream button again, but I do know where it is now, so I can click that. Right. I asked him and he didn't give me an ID. I think he's donated before, Chris, and says he doesn't have Discord. But there you go, Daniel. Just as I click end, there you go. Let me hold that in that hand and then I'll click end stream with this hand. Right, see you then. Goodbye.